today. He's being inducted to our Ring of Honor, so congratulations, Caleb. We appreciate you making time out of your schedule to come back. Open it up for questions for Caleb for a few minutes.
Caleb, what does this honor mean to you?
It means the world, man. It's a blessing. I thank the man above for getting me to this point, but been a long journey for me, ups and downs, everything in between, but I wouldn't trade it for nothing, and, the decision I made to come to Arizona is one of the best decisions I made.
Based on what you've been able to do so far as a rookie, do you feel like you've proved some people wrong that maybe didn't think that you could do it?
Yeah, for sure. And I don't think it's really proving people wrong. I think it's just proving myself right, and just believing in myself, continuing to put in the work and trust in my work, and just going out there and performing to the best of my ability. So I definitely feel like I definitely turned some heads and maybe did some things that people may have thought that I wasn't capable of, but and I'm still trying to prove myself. I'm still trying to continue to stamp my name, and I just think that's something that's important to me.
How do you think Arizona prepared you for the success you're having in the NBA right now?
I thank Tommy a lot because, he kind of runs an NBA-style offense with, how fast-paced it is and, how heavy ball screens and things like that. And so I definitely, give a lot of credit to, him and the coaching staff with, how they run things. And then as far as, like, the player development side, that definitely translates from here to, to the league. And so I think this program and, this what Tommy is building and what he's built so far is definitely going to help you get to the league for sure.
Going into your last year at Arizona, you went through the draft process. What did you learn from that experience, and how did you evolve your game into a guy that could play at the next level?
Just being more sharp on a lot of things as far as, getting to your spots. And then on the defensive end, you got to be able to guard at the next level. So, just staying in condition, being more efficient and consistent in your workouts. The things that you're doing in your workouts, make sure it translates to the game. So I just think just being more intentional as far as, when you're training and things like that, focusing on the specific things that you need to get better at and the things that's, you're going to be doing out there on the floor.
In what ways has a guy like Damian Lillard helped you translate to the NBA?
He's been, a big help of mine. He's been like, the OG of my generation. So I just think, just having him, that's my favorite player. Just having him right there by my side, being able to, give me tips, give me pointers on things that, that can help me. I think that's just been a great, resource for me.
When you look at Brandon Murray's game, what do you see in his game? Because I know when he was brought in, he's obviously filling your position out there on the court. So what do you see of Brandon Murray?
Just his composure out there. He never looks rattled. And he's been progressing, each and every game. I've been watching his progress. He may have started out a little slow, but now he's in groove, and you can see it out there on the floor. And I just think, obviously his shot making, but his ability to create his own shot. That's tough to do, and doing it on a nightly basis is also tough in the Big 12. So I just think he has a lot of composure in his game, a lot of skill. Obviously the shot making, but he can guard multiple positions and things like that. So he's been having a great year, and I'm going to continue to watch his progress.
How much have you been able to watch games this year?
I've been watching every game.
Yeah.
Even if we sometimes have games on the same day, but I'm in the locker room before the game because I'm so invested in it, and I'm so happy to see the start that we've had. But yeah, at halftime I'm checking my phone to see what the score is. So yeah, I'm definitely invested in. When I left Arizona, this is always going to be home.
Caleb, what was your welcome to the NBA moment?
Welcome to the NBA moment. Probably coming off the bench. I never came off the bench ever in my life, so that's something that let alone I got DMPs, so that was different. But on the positive side, I say going head to head with Steph and Golden State. That was another one.
How did you, rewire your brain to become a reserve player, a role player, when you were, used to being the guy growing up?
Yeah, you just got to be a pro. You got to be a professional about it. You know, you can't be, you know, looking down or, you know, being sorry for yourself or saying I deserve this or I deserve that, because, you know, it's a business at the end of the day, and you got to come in, be a professional, and you just always got to continue to adjust. You know, your role may be different on a night-to-night basis, especially with me. You know, I may need to score more this night. I may need to facilitate more. I may just need to play defense this night, you know, picking up full court, things like that. So I think, you know, it's definitely been an adjustment for sure. But, you know, the more and more I get games under my belt, the more and more I get more comfortable.
How much should Portland's style of play, with how aggressive they want you to be on both ends, help you?
I think it fits my game well. You know, the defensive part, I think defense is just, as far as on the ball, is hard, you know, and want to. But, you know, off the ball is, you know, you got to have a little bit of savvy, have some defensive IQ, know where you at, know where, you know, other guys are going to be on the floor, and just sticking to your principles on that side of the floor. And then on offense, just playing within the flow. You know, not trying to do too much, not trying to, you know, but not playing conservative either, where you playing like you're scared. Just, you know, just being yourself. You know, I played the game, you know, a long time, pretty much all my life. So, like I said, the more and more games I get under my belt, the more and more, you know, comfortable I get, and it's definitely been showing.
After games, you would be sitting in the stands after the games with your family and kind of talk through things. And obviously, I don't know what those conversations were like, but I imagine whether it was a good game or a bad game, you guys would talk about a lot of different things. How has their support really helped you get through some of the ups and the downs and really getting into the NBA life and trying to figure things out as an undrafted free agent?
Their support has been great, man. So, you know, throughout my whole career, my whole life, on and off the court, they've been there for me. Whether I have a good game, like you said, or a bad game, they're always going to be there. They're my biggest critic, but they're also my biggest lover. So, you know, I need some of that, though. I need the criticism. I need the hard talks at times. But, you know, their support has been great. It's definitely got me through a lot of, you know, tough times. And, you know, I can't thank God enough for having a support system that I have.
On a day like today, with an honor like this, what do you think your grandpa Benny would say?
He'll be proud of me. He'll be proud of me. He'll tell me, you know, just to keep going. This is only the beginning. And, you know, we got a lot more accomplishments to, you know, go capture.
What kind of goals do you have set going into the second half now that you kind of adjusted a little bit to the NBA and you know what to expect?
I think, you know, not playing with, you know, pressure. Just going out there hooping. And, you know, I know that's easier said than done, but I think I put a lot of pressure on myself in the past, you know, few years, trying to perform at, you know, my best ability. And I think when I just go out there and play free, I think that's when I'm at my best. So just taking that pressure off me and, you know, just going out there doing what I do.
Just has it been being back here in Tucson, college game day this morning? You know, have you been to any of your favorite spots from when you were here, or you know, caught up with friends and family or those types of things?
Yeah, so I got here yesterday, and you know, I met with my family. You know, we ate dinner, and then you know, I got touched up with some of my guys, my old teammates. So it's been great though. College game day was a great environment. The fans showed up and showed out as, you know, per usual. And, you know, I'm just looking forward to the game tonight.
Just your thoughts on the growth of Jaden Bradley and what you've seen out of him taking on more of that leadership role and the lead guy.
Yeah, I'm extremely proud of JB, extremely happy for him. You know, that was like my right-hand man on the court last year. With him just, you know, being as savvy as he is, being as skilled, him sacrificing a lot, because, you know, JB could, you know, go for 25 any night he wanted to, but he sacrificed for the team, where, you know, he can go get 10 assists as well. So I just think his ability to adjust and adapt to any situation, and, you know, his, you know, even keel mindset has been great, and it's showing. You know, he's one of the best point guards in the country, if not the best, in my opinion. And, you know, like I said, I'm definitely happy for JB.
Appreciate it, Caleb.
For sure.